Hello and welcome to another edition of Overcoming Illness. And first and foremost, I want to apologize for last week. I'm so sorry. My guest got sick at the last minute and we couldn't have her on. And then I had technical difficulties trying to get back on and tell you guys that. So I apologize for that. But if those of you who haven't watched me in the past, I'm Paula Denoncourt. I'm a holistic health consultant. Been doing my business since about 2010. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, speaking engagements, and now my own TV show. And just to let you know, I suffered from multiple food allergies myself. I'm a big advocate for Lyme disease, autoimmune illnesses. I specialize in food allergies, food sensitivities, and autoimmune illnesses. Highly encourage you to watch some of the past shows. I've had some amazing guests, and we're going to have even more amazing guests tonight, and I'm so excited to have her on, and I'll introduce her in just a minute. But with that, I just want to let you know I am looking for guests to be on the show. We're starting to book for 2023. We have another guest scheduled next week on autism. Looking forward to that, but the calendar is ready to be filled, so we need your stories. People need your stories. Whether you've overcome an illness, you're going through an illness, it can even be emotional trauma, depression, suicide. It can be a pastor, an apostle, a doctor, a nurse, whatever it is, people that are going through illnesses, we need your stories. So I just wanted to let you know that. So please reach out to me. The best way to get me is either Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, or you can go on my website, enrichyourhealth.com if you're listening, enrichurhealth.com. My phone number is listed there. Just text me and I will get back to you. So with that, I want to introduce my guest tonight. I am so excited to introduce Kellina. We got introduced just the other night on Clubhouse, and I was like, you need to be on my show. So I am really excited to have her on the show, and I want to thank her for being here. So let me introduce Kellina. Kellina is a thriving entrepreneur. She is founder and CEO of Kellina's Empowerment. So she's a life coach. She's an author. And the name of her book, let me get the name of it so I get the right name. Give me 1 second. Right here. Every Day I Am Just Death. So she wrote that book. And, Kellina is only 25. To be writing her own book and everything and be a life coach at the age of 25 is pretty amazing in itself. Let's see. Kellina, she's, like I said, thriving entrepreneur. She loves to help people with their personal growth and educate others about the deaf community. Little do people know, Kellina is actually a hard of hearing person. She's not completely deaf. She became deaf at the age of 4. And she's recently graduated with a psychology degree and is now starting her own online coaching business while launching her book. So welcome, Kellina.
Thank you so much for having me today, Paula. I'm excited to meet everybody.
Yes, I'm excited to have you here. So Kellina, so tell us first, you've already told me, but tell the audience a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you're living now. Just give the audience a little bit of background about you.
Yeah, definitely. Hi everybody, my name is Kellina. As Paula said, I am an author, international speaker, and a coach. And yeah, I'm located in Canada, Toronto. Yes, I know it's in the cold. I am screaming cold right now. Honestly, it's not fun. Do not come to Canada in the winter. I really don't like no. Anyways, let's get back to the topic. And yeah, so about me, I'm also a content creator. I do have my Instagram where I spread a lot of awareness and just motivational quotes for people. And yeah, and I just love helping other people as well. And I do have another book coming out this year, which I'm excited about sharing with you guys shortly towards the end. So stay tuned and listen for more.
Awesome. Thank you, Kellina. So what is it? people to know about the deaf community? So when I ask you that, first tell us a little bit. You tell us a little of your background. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Was it challenging in the family at all, or with any, even with mom or dad? Tell us a little bit about.
Um, yeah, definitely. I would say it was. I'm the first person in my family that actually became deaf, so it was very challenging for my family in the beginning because I was 4 years old. I don't know what's happening, so it was unfortunate that they couldn't explain to me as a 4 years old level to
Mm,
say this is what's happening. And unfortunately, I was the only child at that time. And so my family was trying to figure out how can we get Kalina to communicate better? How can we teach Kalina how to communicate? Because a lot of people are not aware that ASL was another option to learn a second language. And so my family has to decide whether they're going to teach ASL to me, or am I going to speak verbally? Where am I going to go do a speech therapist? So there's a lot of things that my family had to plan for me. And so luckily, I was able to find a deaf school by my house. But however, I would go to school half day, where I go to the hearing school as well in the afternoon just to help me.
mm,
And that was very good until I got to grade 3 because I had to move back to my hearing school full time, which unfortunately was sad because I couldn't continue learning ASL where I was in the deaf school. And so I stopped learning it, unfortunately, when I went to the parent school, which is really not fair. And when I got older, I did suffer a lot and struggle a lot in the parent school because I was still able to communicate, but a lot of teachers were not accommodating. Teachers did not know how to accommodate a student who was deaf, unfortunately. So that was something I struggled a lot in the hearing school, unfortunately. And I wish things would change, honestly.
mm,
And when I got older, I did end up having a sibling, so I do have a little sister, a teenager. She's amazing. Love my little sister to death. She's always my to go to all the time, and she's always there to support. I remember when I first told her I was deaf and I had hearing aids, and she was so cute. Her reaction was like, "Oh, but you're normal." And I said, I wouldn't guess that. It's so
mm,
cute. And she's amazing, amazing. I do have a really strong support from my family. My family are very strong people. Not gonna lie, they are a lion, and they would never allow anybody to disrespect me. They would never allow anyone to doubt me because I did have, when I was in high school, I did have problems in high school to the point where a lot of teachers did not believe in my goals. They did not support me, and the point where they hold me back in high school, the point where I had to take an extra semester
mm,
for a reason. And so, and see, I can tell and see that my family, going all out for me, making sure I was getting the support I need, even though the schools was not supporting me at all. At least I still have my family to support me.
mm. That's good that you had your mom and dad that really supported you. That's, thank God for that. Yeah. Yeah, going back to what you were saying, Kalina, you and I have a little bit in common. Even though I wasn't deaf, I was picked on all the time in school. And I had a learning disability. So I actually went through special education. So I totally can understand, how teachers aren't always accommodating. When I grew up, I'm 55, I'm not afraid to say it. Um, a lot of times there was no happy medium with things. So they would either put you up here if you were like, if you could, what's the word I want? If you excelled, you know, or they put you down below. There was no in between. And at first I would excel, and then if I started doing all this kind of reading stuff, I wasn't good with reading. So then I would be brought down here, and then that's how they would put me in like special education.
Right.
So I can totally relate, with not being accommodated, because now they accommodate people in all the different levels, but they didn't. It was tough because it's like, well, what am I doing in this? Why am I so far down when a minute ago I was up here? Like, you couldn't figure out what was going on. So it was, I can totally relate. I mean, although I wasn't deaf, I got picked on all the time. I was sick even all through school. I had asthma, and I got picked on for that. I couldn't run and do whatever the kids were doing. So I get being excluded, I guess you could say. I totally understand that. And even though I wasn't deaf, I can only imagine, I was shy. So, I can only imagine how hard it was understanding what people were saying and doing, you know what I mean? Like, it could not have been easy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. So going forward, you went through all these challenges. Were you bullied at all, or just picked on, or just excluded? Tell us a little bit about that before we
Yeah,
go.
bullying was something I suffered a lot in
Mm,
in middle school, especially middle school. Oh my God. I remember I got picked on in grade one. Oh my God. And it was really bad I wouldn't say just grade one, but I feel like throughout education system wide, I would bully out throughout my whole entire education wide. It was not just one particular path I had. It was all the
mm,
way until I was in grade 12, unfortunately. And a lot of people would sometimes take advantage of me just because they think that I am a deaf person. They think, oh, like whatever. And it was hard to stand up for myself at certain time because I'm tired. When you're so tired, you're just like, I'm tired. I had enough, whatever. But at the same time, I had to learn the hard way that you will have to continue standing up for yourself, or else people are gonna walk all over you.
yeah,
And I had to keep going up and down, and that's where it triggered my mental health, especially because no one really sit down with me, spoke to me about how can my disability impact my mental health in terms of standing up for myself consistent for people. And a lot of time for me, sometimes I lie to my parents and I don't want to go to school. I am sick, and I'm like, I'm like, nah, I'm not going to school.
mm,
It was very devastating, but it was worth it, I would say, because it really taught me how to put on a bright smile on my face, knowing that I'm not allowing any more people walk all over me as I got older. And if it wasn't for the bully I had in the past, it really changed me who I am, especially being a very outspoken person. And yeah, so that definitely, my bully story would, it's not, everybody's been bullied, but I do wanted to say that if you are being bullied, I do want you to know that keep going,
right,
and eventually it will get better,
right.
but don't give up hope now.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, the unfortunate part about bullying is I don't condone it. Let me put it that way. Today people get bullied in all different sorts of ways, and it's, unfortunate. It's not just in school anymore. They text people, they do it on social media. It's like you can't escape it, and that is horrible. But the one good thing I will say that came out of bullying, and you just kind of hit the nail on the head too, it strengthened me. It made me who I am today. I wouldn't be on this show right now talking to all of you. It strengthened me. Like you said, you start to be your own advocate. So I don't condone it. There's a lot of really bad bullying out there that, I'm not condoning it. Please don't put that on me. But the bullying that happened to me and being picked on strengthened me. So it's just how it gets handled. I know today it can be a lot more violent. It can be a lot worse. It can really cause people to be suicidal. And hey, I've gone through that. Same thing, Kellina. I didn't want to go to school. I was dreading it. I'm like, how can I get out of going to school today? In fact, I used to pray for snowstorms if you really want to laugh. I wouldn't have to go to school. So, anyway, yeah, that's what I used to do. But thank you for sharing that. Being deaf is, anytime a kid has any kind of challenges, whether they're sick, they're deaf, they're just shy, whatever it is, we're just susceptible to being bullying. So it did strengthen both of us, thank God, but it does hurt a lot of people. So you have to find a way to help these kids that are being bullied, because it's much worse today that how people, how kids are doing it, I should say. Um, so let's go forward. Let's talk about the good news. From all this, I always say your pain is your purpose. Now you're 25, which blows me away. When I was 25, you guys, I'm not afraid to admit this, I was like partying. I wasn't thinking about like working in the community and helping the community or anything. You know what I mean? So I was just going day to day and having fun. Um, so what made you decide to be an advocate for the deaf community?
Um, it all started by two stories actually. So I remember I was working at a big park in Canada. It's called Canada's Wonderland, and I met a little boy. He approached me, and my hair was in a ponytail, and I forgot at the time my hair was in a ponytail. And he approached me, and he's like, Miss, and I thought he was lost because it's a big park. And he's like, no, I asked him if he was lost, and he's like, no, I just want to show you my hearing aid. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute. And we had small conversation, and his mom came, and she was full of joy because she's like, oh, you're deaf too in the hearing community, and I looked confused, and I'm like, yeah, and and she's like, no, 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 not to make you feel uncomfortable, but I I try to teach my son that he's normal and he is fine the way he is. And
Mm,
the fact that my son saw you, you just give him a hope, saying nothing is wrong, and just warmed my heart. And I was like, oh my God, I just changed a little kid's life just by showing my hearing aid. And his mom said to me, I will never forget her telling me that, but she said, you're going to make a big change in this world because you just did little things like that. And I was just like, wow. And then it hit me, and I'm like, and I was thinking about it after shift, and then I was thinking, I'm like, what can I do to make this world different? How can I make the next generation feel comfortable in the
mm,
hearing community? And I was just thinking about what could I do, and I'm like, maybe I should start my content on Instagram and see what I TikTok. Maybe I should do a YouTube. And I was
yeah.
writing things down, and I didn't even know what to start. I was like, you know what? I'm like, maybe I will start after I'm done school, because I was in university at the time. I didn't want to do too much with my plate, and I would say 2 years later, I had a professor who was also deaf. And he paused the lecture, saying, hold on, I need to change my hearing aid battery. And I was just like, wait, hold up. This professor paused the lecture to change his hearing aid? Like, I was just mind blowing because I was like, you're deaf? I didn't even know. And I couldn't tell. And I had that amazing conversation with him after class. And I said, how do you do this? Like, how did you feel so comfortable saying 1 second? And imagine though, the lecture was like a movie theater. So I couldn't imagine him having that confidence to say 1 second to 2,000 students. And I was like, and we had a conversation, and I asked him a question, simple question, like, how did you get this far? And how did you build that confidence actually? And he's like, honestly, you just never know who's watching you or who needs your voice. And just like you, I never knew you were watching me, and I never knew you were deaf. I just made that, and I just helped you change your confidence, which he did. He boosted up my
Wow.
confidence and
Wow.
showing me that if he can be a professor, I can be anything I want.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just looked at that. I'm like, and it hit me, and I was like, maybe this is a sign for me to continue on that journey with that little boy mom's dad. Maybe this was a message for me to keep going.
Yeah.
And honestly, a couple weeks later, I started my Instagram, and I just went all out, and I was super success. Honestly, I was super success. I only started my journey, I would say a year and a half, or going to 2 years this year. So I'm doing a
Wow.
fantastic job, and it's just crazy how you just never know who you're gonna impact. And I
Right.
love inspiring people and I love impacting other people's life because I always wanted to show that, be that role model for the next generation. And also too because myself when I was growing up, I never met anyone that looks like me, unfortunately. And I do want to keep inspiring the young generation to let them know that they are not alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Wow. Yeah, Kalina, I took American Sign Language a few years ago, and you know how challenging that was. I
Oh, I
my
can imagine.
was deaf. He was deaf, and so here was the challenge for me, not being deaf. One of the things that people don't know in the deaf community, a lot of the sentences are backwards. Instead of
Yes,
saying where you live where. So the challenge for him with us is he couldn't understand the way we talk normally. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he was still
yes,
used to everything being backwards. So we've
yes,
always wronged him. So
yes, yes. It's
it's like, oh
different.
my god, I win. But it wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? He was deaf and he was just used to talking that particular
Yes.
way. So it's, yeah, I'm sure. Did you learn American Sign Language? Do you speak American Sign Language?
Unfortunately, because I learned it when I was younger,
Yeah,
unfortunately, but no, but now I'm taking classes again,
yeah,
unfortunately. And yes, I don't really know the basic stuff like thank
right,
you, sorry, hi, you're
yeah,
welcome, I, mom, dad,
yeah,
sister. That's all I know, to be honest.
yeah. Same here. I just remember some of the basics, like yeah, chief is father and things like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I also feel like maybe Kalina, you can be a part of this. I also feel like it's very old school, the American Sign Language. I feel like a lot of signs they should change. Like saying father, the chief. Just my opinion.
father. I'm like, where did it come from? But who
Oh,
knows?
many years ago. I feel like it needs to be updated. I think
Right.
some has, but I'm just surprised that there aren't more advocates for that because I think it's just very it's just old school. It needs to be updated. Like, just my opinion, but anybody out there in the deaf community, I highly suggest you fight for it because I think it needs to be updated. Yeah, it was challenging and I want to learn it again because I feel like it would be very helpful to have. But like you said, I just know some of the basics and some of them I don't even remember anymore. But I would love to learn it again. But yeah, it was challenging having a deaf teacher with us that we weren't deaf, and he couldn't understand our language. Put it that way, he just couldn't, and it's understandable. He was taught a certain way.
Aw.
So anyway, yeah. So I think it's awesome that you're working in the deaf community now. Um, so let's see. What advice would you give those struggling with mental illness?
I would definitely say the first thing is really understand what is your mental illness is. I feel like a lot of people don't take the time to understand and do the research properly. I feel like people listen to the social media or listen to something, like always go see a specialist, a psychiatrist, just to talk to them and see and break it down. What are things that you can do? And that's my number one advice. And number two is always be mindful of who is your support system are. And I know a lot of people always rely on the wrong people and they find out who their true friends are.
Mm-hmm.
And also too is be careful of what you're feeding to your brain. And I feel like a lot of time when we're not very conscious and be careful what we feed to our brain, we sometimes tend to react things differently than we should have not. And that happens to a lot of people I know. And for example, myself, like I never knew I grew up with anxiety with a hearing person. And I get nervous a lot because I am super scared of them either making fun of me because of what happened to me in the past. And I was like, oh no, like are they gonna make fun of me of my speech? Can they understand or do I need to communicate them differently? Um, that is something that's my advice to a lot of people. And also too, don't be afraid of taking a break. I think a lot of people feel like they need to keep going, and not take a break from themselves. I understand life happens, but at the
Mm,
end of the day, if you're not okay, then how are you supposed to help other people or even continue your life?
right.
And so that is definitely my advice.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know. One of the things like with mental illness that I, I think you hit the nail right on the head with social media. We're seeing a lot of fake stuff that we think,
Yeah, exactly.
especially on TikTok, because everybody's saying, oh, you can make $100,000 and whatever, just 2 hours a day, and all these different things. But they don't give you, the step by step all the time, all the times they failed at trying to do it, or if they hired somebody to help them do certain others, you know what I mean? If they hired coaches, they don't give you that in between. We see a lot of stuff that looks like, oh my God, look at them. They're making it. They're doing well. How come I'm not making it? You don't know for sure that they're making it. They're just telling you that. You might see them on a magazine, or whatever. Well, maybe they're just paid to be on that magazine to get noticed, but doesn't mean that they're making it. They're getting noticed, but it doesn't mean that they're making it. Doesn't mean that they're successful. So I think we get caught up in a lot of that. Um, the grass is greener on the other side, I guess you could say. And that can cause, like you say, it can cause anxiety, mental illness, and just that, what's the word I want? Competitiveness. Like, why isn't it happening for me? And why is it happening? You can't look at things that way. Another pastor prophet said something to us one day, and this sticks with me. Never worry about the numbers. It's even if you impact one person, when whether it's on this TV show, whether it's on your Instagram videos, whatever, even if you impact one person, two people, three people, whatever it is, and it's not, you don't have 1,000 followers, it doesn't matter. That's who God meant for you to impact. That's it. End of story. Don't get caught up in it. So I think that affects our mental health. We see this whole thing. Oh my God, I don't have enough followers. Oh my God, I don't have enough likes. Oh my God, my house isn't the best house on the block. I mean, we could go on and on and on, but I think you really hit it right there that people are struggling because they compare themselves to what everybody else is doing, what everybody else has. I'm guilty of it too. Been there, and still struggle with it once in a while. Not going to lie. How can you not? But I try not to let it get to me. I will say that. We all struggle with fear of rejection. Like you said, when you were younger, same here. I was picked out all the time. So these are these things that rear their ugly head as you keep, going through life. And you just have to face them. So thank you for that. So tell us a little bit about your book. I mean, you're 25. How long did it take? First of all, what made you decide to start writing the book? How old were you when you started to write the book? We'll start with that.
Okay, definitely. A very simple question. Honestly, I always ask myself, what's the purpose of this book? That's fine. True. What is my main goal out of this book? I ask myself that. And the thing is, when I was younger, I always see myself writing a book. I always had. And for me personally, I when I started my entrepreneur journey, I asked like a lot of like here in person if they ever read I'm sorry, if they ever read a book by a deaf author. 90% of them told me no. So then I said, maybe I can read the first book they ever read. And that's what made me write a book.
Wow.
And I just like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and write this book and sell it to people and people who need this and people who understand what it's like to be deaf. And second, I was 24 years old. So I was
Mm,
20, yeah, sorry, 23, 24. So I would say 23, just let's say 23. So I was 23 and I wrote this book and I started a couple months. So it took me 2 months. Then I stopped. And then I went back on it last year when I was 24. And then it took me straight 2 months. I was so focused in on that because of COVID. So I wouldn't do anything at the time. I was still in school. School was online, and I was super bored. And I was like, you know what? Let me just finish off my book. Let me take advantage of COVID time and finish off my book. And then that's when I finished my book in 2 months, thanks to COVID. And yeah,
Wow. 2 months.
yeah.
Wow. Look at God. That's amazing. Some people take 10 years to write a book.
I feel like
They
everybody's
do. Yeah.
different.
Wow. And even my first book, which is back there, but God, I'm still here. That was just an anthology. So it's not even a whole, you know what I mean? It's not like a whole book. It's 9 other women with me. That was my first book. So that's 2 months is amazing. It took me, I don't know, it took us a few months to get everybody together and.
Right.
But that was mine's only like a chapter. That's amazing. Wow. So how many pages is the book?
Can you read that one more time? Sorry.
How many pages is the book?
The book is only 95 pages and it's very short. It's like a poetry book. So it's
Okay.
like a poem book. Yeah. It's not like chapters, it's just
Yeah.
poem.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. And now you're writing another book?
Yeah, so I did have another book that came out December 22nd. That was a collaboration book with all the other young entrepreneurs. And so that came out December 22nd. Yeah.
Okay. So that one just came out too. Wow. That's amazing. You're just blowing me away. You're like 25 books and you're an entrepreneur. I mean, I am just like, this is crazy. So tell us a little bit about your business. So you're an empowerment coach. Tell us about your clients. What kind of clients do you have? Are they young teens? Are they young kids? Tell us a little bit about your clients and what disabilities do they have? And give us, like I said, we want some good news here, some testimonials, how you've changed their lives.
Okay, so my clients are teenagers. So they are not young kids, but they're young adults as
Okay.
well. So put it in that way. And what I do is I offer support one on one, and I do group and family as well. However, right now I only do one on one for now. With all my clients. I help my clients support in terms of receiving their goals. I help them achieve the end goal that they want to achieve. So what I do is I focus on positive psychology instead of negative psychology. So I help
Mm.
them to achieve that goal that they have. And the great thing about my coaching is I'm a deaf person. I speak, my clients all have disabilities, so I can relate 100% on what they need help with. And a lot of them tell me, Kalina, you're such a good listener. You make me comfortable to the point where they felt like they can feel comfortable reaching out through email, and I can provide them tools that they need. Because if I were in their shoes, I would wish that my coach or a counselor can give me these stuff when I was their age. And so that's what made them love me, like teaching and coaching them with so many things. And yeah, and that's my coaching service.
So tell us a testimonial. Like, how long does it does your coaching usually last? Like, is it 3 months, 6 months?
So
Uh,
I do have a monthly package.
okay.
Um, a monthly package just because I know a lot of people may change their minds with different packages or something may happen because I know life happens. So I want it to be more affordable for people. I don't want to give them too much time of their life. So I just wanted to give it 1 month time for the client. And also to my coaching service is very affordable for a lot of people. A lot of people can just simply pick 3 different packages I have. So I
Mhm.
have the standard, the silver, and the gold packages for the client.
Oh wow. So tell us about like some kind of like testimonial. Like what client has reached their global and how you've helped them. If
Sure,
there's
definitely.
a couple.
Definitely. So one client wanted to help and build her confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, while being around other people. And so I break down all the goals that she wants to she write it down. And I would give her in a worksheet. I do have like a book. Not all clients would recommend it, but it depends on the client's goals. And
Right.
I give her a picture, and she would fill out the form and a worksheet for her to do. She will reflect back on her emotion when that event happened. So it's basically describing her event. So please describe to me what's happening. How are you feeling? Why did this trigger you? And we walk through everything. We break everything down so she has an idea of why am I feeling this way when I'm with this particular person or group. And we
Mm,
walk through everything slowly, and we also do practice role play with each other. So I be like I'm pretend I'm her, so that way she can see and understand, get a reflection, like, oh, this makes sense. Okay, this is what I can do better, and to make her feel comfortable enough to understand where this coming from. And so that's one of the example. And luckily, she was able to do it. It took her 2 months to achieve the goal, but she did really well. Again, baby step. I don't rush my clients at all.
yeah.
I do baby step with my clients. We make sure that we go through everything day one by one and step by step.
And what was her challenge? Like, what was her disability?
There, she didn't have a disability. However, my door is also open for other people who don't have a
Right.
disability. Yeah, so I know everybody loves and be inspired by me, and I'm like, okay, sure. But she did not. But she really did had she has anxiety as well, and what else did she had? I think that was it. But she also had something else, which I'm aware, but she hadn't touched on that with the psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So that's pretty amazing. So that's something. Okay. Now I've had a lot of coaches. I've had a lot of business coaching, and I've even worked with some of the business gurus out there. Never have any of them role played. I think that's amazing in itself that you would do that, like role play with client. Then you
Yeah,
can really see what what their challenge. They can see what their challenge is. So that's really different. That's something I've never heard of. Like I'm like, wow, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should start doing that with my clients. Because being a health coach, we do a little bit of life coaching as well, so it can kind of tie in. Um, but yeah, that's pretty amazing. Is there another story that you have that you'd want to share?
I would say that's it.
Yeah.
I know I have a couple other ones, but I know they won't appreciate me doing this. But that one client, I know for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's interesting. Now, have you thought about working with parents of kids with disabilities?
Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
That's okay. Have you thought about working with the parents of the kids with the disabilities and
I was
helping
thinking
them
about
cope?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
Mm.
However, I haven't gone through that passage yet, but that is something I have been thinking about to offer just because I know a lot of parents, especially on the other app called Clubhouse, ask me for feedback and advice. A lot of parents been asking me. Yeah, so I was thinking about that. I'm like, maybe I should open another service for the parents too, just to
Yeah.
help them. And so, yeah, that was something I'm also thinking about, definitely.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is for those of you who don't know, I've been a big Lyme disease advocate. And one of the things we've noticed in that community, or even an autoimmune community, or any illness really, is parents or caregivers don't know how to help the person that has the illness or the disability. So I think with your type of coaching, my goodness, you could help these parents help their own children, or even if they're foster children, whatever, they can help them. So definitely think about that, because I think you'd be good at helping them. I think it's very much needed. Like you just said, they're asking for it on Clubhouse, which is where we met. So
Yeah, they really are.
they need it. They need that. They don't know how, and more people are getting sick. More and more kids are getting sick, and parents don't know how to cope with it. They need coping mechanisms. More and more kids are getting Lyme disease or autoimmune diseases, and well, here's an example. In the Lyme disease community, this one woman I know, she had to homeschool all 6 of her kids because they just couldn't cope in school. How do you cope with that as a parent? All her kids have Lyme disease. You know what I mean? Things like that. They need help coping with that. She had to homeschool all of them. Lots of kids with autoimmune issues, if you don't know, what happens is they get a lot of cognitive problems. They can't understand things. They may not remember things. They almost get like dementia-like qualities. Parents don't know how to handle all these different things. And not only just handling the illness itself, but what the kid is going through. They're losing friends. They're getting picked on. Whatever. Their school is, their grades are failing. You could help the parents help their kids know that their purpose might be something else. There might be a bigger picture that they can do even with an illness. You can help them with that. So I don't know. I just had to add that.
I like that. Thank you. Thank you. I'll definitely really think about it. I should add that to my fourth birth package. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's needed. It's needed. Like I said, we've noticed it in the Lyme disease community that they don't know how to help their kids, or even somebody in the family. They don't know how to help them. So, so tell us a little bit more about some of your social media channels. So you're on Instagram?
My Instagram is Deaf Queen Boss on here. So
Yep.
you can find me on there. And my website, which is KellinaEmpowerment.com. You can also find me on Facebook, which is Kellina Powell. If you would like to reach out to me through social media, please, I'm begging everybody, please put podcast so I know you're listening, because I get dozens of messages and I don't know where these people come from. So I think we all know those one. So
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
So yes.
Now, are you doing TikTok as well?
I am doing TikTok, but honestly, TikTok is a lot to keep up with.
I know. I know. I'm just starting to do it as well. I've been batching some videos and start pumping them out. But yeah, it is a lot to keep up with because you do have to really just got to keep putting videos out there, and it's a lot. I know it's a lot. You'd be great on TikTok. I definitely think that people need you on TikTok as well.
Okay, I will definitely keep up.
Yeah, you can multi-purpose. Do one video and put it everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll definitely do TikTok. I'm trying to keep up with TikTok, but this year my goal is to definitely keep doing TikTok.
Awesome. I'll have to follow you on there. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of time left. So give us 3 tips that could help the audience in dealing in the deaf community or even people with disabilities. What are your 3 tips?
I would say my tip is, number one is don't assume too much. If you don't know something, always ask. You just never know what the answer is. And number two is don't be afraid of taking a no for an answer. I think a lot of us take it super personal when we're trying to get the right answer. However, there's no such thing as a right answer. And that was something I had to learn about myself when I was growing up, that there's no right answer. There's no right and wrong answer at all. It's really how you live your life.
Mm-hmm.
And last tip is always be mindful and be truthful to yourself. At the end of the day, you come first before anybody else.
Yes, definitely. And one other thing I wanted to address, we started to talk about this before the broadcast and I forgot to bring it up. So I just wanted to bring it up. Tell us a little bit about when the pandemic hit and everybody had to have masks on. How did you feel about that? And what did you notice, not just in yourself, but the deaf community? Because we talked about this a little bit before we came on, and I feel like it should be addressed.
Yeah, definitely. I was devastated when the mask came out because it was very hard for me to communicate and it was hard for me to hear.
Mm,
And I was very isolated from the world because I couldn't get myself out there as much as I wished I could. And also, too, it made the deaf community isolated even more because we couldn't interact with people at all. And even when we go out there ask for instructions or anything like that, people are very rude and don't have patience. And people sometimes tend to be like they're doing their hand, but you're like, I can't hear you. And so it was very unfortunate. For example, I had to do an oil change and I go to this particular one car shop to do the oil change. And I literally told this guy, I want to do the oil change. That is it. Imagine, I have my mask on too. And I said, that's all I want to do. And that's it. So I didn't even realize he was asking something about my car. And I said yes. And I signed a paper. And
oh,
I said yes. It kind of screwed me over.
oh no.
And he didn't, and then that's when my mom came to the shop and she said, why did you guys not listen to my daughter? She said she only wanted the oil change. That's it. Why are you asking her more questions if she wanted to add more things in the car? And that's what dealerships do, right? They add more service in your car to get more money from you. And that's what they did. They took advantage. And because they see that I'm deaf, they took advantage. And so that was one of the examples I had to go through, unfortunately, during COVID. Is that people are not mindful and very cautious that there are other people who are deaf here, and there's people that don't understand and know. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, like I told you, Kalina, I happened to catch glimpses of it on TV or a TikTok video where people were just challenged. They were being told that they have to wear a mask, but yet, they're deaf and they need to be able to read lips and, all this stuff. So I loved the mask that came out that you could show the lips, which was amazing. But not everybody got that. Not every, understood it or got those. So yeah, I can only imagine what people were going through in that community because it's not something everybody thinks about unless you got a glimpse of it on a video or a TV show. So thank you for sharing that. I feel like people need to be aware of that because who knows? We might go through it again. We don't know. And if we do, and you're watching, just be more compassionate of people that are hard of hearing. I just wanted to put that out there. So, in the last 10 minutes, you told us a little bit about how people can reach you. Tell us, what is your website?
my website is kalinaempowerment.com.
Okay. So if anybody wants to reach out to Kellina, you want to schedule a session, even if you're a parent, because she's going to start
Yes.
off.
Even if you are parents, yes, you're more than happy to.
Just get in touch with her. I'm sure she can make it happen. Or if you have a teen that you think this would be helpful for, reach out to her. Make sure the book is on Amazon.
Yes, it is. It is on Amazon.
Okay. Make sure you go for her book on Amazon and the new book as well. Follow her on Instagram and Facebook and now TikTok. What's your name on TikTok? Is it
My TikTok is Deaf Queen Bot as well.
Deaf Queen? I love that. Deaf Queen Boss. Do you have a t-shirt that says that?
No, I don't. I have a wine cup that says Deaf Queen Boss. So
Listen, not need a t-shirt that says that, but you need a whole merchandise line. You do. Yeah, I could just see like a whole deaf community like this is amazing and then put the t-shirt on and cups and yeah. Just think about just even a pen in their hand that says Deaf Queen, but oh yeah, you need a whole merchandise line. Tell them you're on Clubhouse. There's so many people on Clubhouse that could help you do that in 2 days, probably. So,
exactly.
yeah, So just think about that, because I think that would be amazing. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing like notebooks with Deaf Queen Boss, so people could, get their own journals going. Oh my goodness, I'm just seeing it all. So we've got about 10 minutes left. So with that last 10 minutes, Kalina, I just wanted to say thank you for being on. I want to thank all the replayers that have been watching. This was an amazing broadcast tonight. I'm just so excited that you came on and shared your story, and just give people hope, in the new year. 2023 gives people something to be excited about, since there's so much bad news and bad stuff going on. Look at this woman. She's 25. Look how much she's done with a challenge in her life, a huge challenge. And I said it in the beginning of the broadcast. I mean, when I was 23, I wasn't writing a book, partying after work and stuff like that. So I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I mean, I just think of how different my generation was, compared to what you're going through, what you're doing. I mean, I think you're just doing some amazing stuff. So thank you. Thank you again for being on. With that, if anybody wants to be on the show, please reach out to me on either Instagram Messenger or Facebook Messenger. You can text me, go on the website, enrichyourhealth.com. If you're only listening, it's enrichyourhealth.com. You can go there. I have a free reversing illness ebook, and that's under the store. So make sure you go to the store on my website. If it's blank, don't panic. There's another store. It's under construction. So just go to the store. You can get your free ebook. You can get a 6-day immunity meal plan guide, which a lot of people need right now with all these illnesses going around. And then next week we have an amazing guest as well. So I'm excited about that. He's gone through autism challenges. So just looking forward to the new year and new guests. So please reach out if you want to be a guest. Thank you again, Kalina. And with that, we will end the broadcast. And we will see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.